John Kerry indicating that the deal, they're still working on it. They're not done yet, but apparently they've extended the deadline to try to work on it, so they're getting a little closer. Some of the dividing issues apparently have been money up front. Iranians want all that $50 to $60 billion in frozen assets unfrozen like pronto right away when a deal is agreed to. We're sort of bleeding that out with a carrot and stick approach. You do this, you'll get more money. You do this, you'll get more money. So that's a key issue, certainly for the Iranians. We're not having any of it, we're told. We also want to get out of the Iranians some concessions on access to all nuclear stockpiles throughout the country. The Iranians are saying, no, you can go here, you can go here. But with the sham that we had with North Korea, under both Republican and Democratic administrations dealing with the nuclear agreement with that country, that just was a mockery. They're trying to avoid that. So bottom line, they're not close. They say they're getting closer, but who am I to judge? I don't know. Maybe this guy knows. Congressman Darrell Issa, the fine state of California. I do want to get on the IRS targeting, Congressman, but on these talks and on we go. What do you make of all of this?
You know, it's beginning to look like Panmunjom, the end of the Korean conflict, where one side would saw off the chair legs so the other side would be lower the next day. Yeah. Ultimately, months ago, a simple and overwhelming view of Congress was better no deal than a bad deal. So I think keeping the parties at the table, if it means a good deal, of course. The question really is are the fundamental underpinnings of we'll let you have all the weapons of war, we just won't let you do the final assembly, is that a good deal? And that remains to be seen with the final agreement.
You do have to wonder, though, this heightened terror time, Congress, and we're getting another bulletin, and this is from Reuters, that U.S. authorities apparently over the July 4th weekend thwarted plots to kill people in the United States. This was, again, around the July 4th holiday. But it would come just on the heels of this whole Iranian situation where people are very terror conscious, very suspicious. A lot of these terror activities, invariably, we are told, lead to Iran. Are we talking to the wrong guys?
Well, I think we're talking to the wrong guys in the sense that Iran has been a rogue state, a terrorist sponsor since 1979. I'm one who never objects to talk. I object to making concessions that will simply embolden and empower a rogue nation.
But I guess what they're saying, no, to be clear, and it's my fault for not being more clear, that this attack that was planned apparently by ISIS is something that the FBI director Comey had cited, and yet part of what we hear about ISIS is it's a lot of its funding or a lot of its indirect, if not direct support, comes from Iran. A further worry? Should this even be coming up in our talks? What?
Well, look, Iran is funding Hezbollah, which is in the field, both in Lebanon and Syria, and they're choosing who they fight and who they support. Right. They support Bashar Assad and his regime. Ultimately, ISIS is a terrorist threat. Quite frankly, Hezbollah is a terrorist threat. One is newer, one is older, one is Shia, one is Sunni, but both are wrong, and we need to make sure that we work with whoever we can to, if you will, control those threats. In the case of Iran, they empower Hezbollah and Hamas and other terrorist groups. We need to get them to stop doing it. It's not on the table in Vienna. It is something that eventually has to be dealt with one way or the other, and I think that's where what's going on in Vienna will certainly support the discussion, but it's not nearly comprehensive enough to eliminate nuclear weapons from Iran. It's also not comprehensive enough to dissuade Iran from being a state sponsor of terrorism.
Real quickly on the agreement we had to talk about this other issue, and I appreciate you're talking about this one on breaking news. Now so many other agencies that might have been working in concert with the IRS to target these conservative groups. Any luck in getting anyone anywhere to talk?
Well, it's interesting that you'd say that. During my tenure as chairman of the committee, we discovered the transfer of those records from Lois Lerner to Department of Justice. Department of Justice at that time told us, oh, we didn't do anything with them, we returned them. It now appears through the FOIA discoveries that, in fact, they were disingenuous, that more was going on, more debate, and the possibility that Lois Lerner, somebody who had abused her authority at the Federal Election Commission before she went to the IRS, was really more successful in getting the Department of Justice and the FBI to at least cross some lines of looking at going after nonprofits based on their ideology.
All right, Congressman, thank you very, very much. We appreciate you taking the time with all this breaking news. Again, if you just tuned in,